Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. UFC 323 did not just end, it ended yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to watch it live, so I'm gonna do my reaction to it now. And we're actually gonna start from the top down. We're gonna start from the Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr fight, because this was the outcome nobody expected. I don't know what percentage of people were picking Petr, but it was not a lot. It was like 1% or something like that. Anyhow, my boy Petr just goes out there and schools Merab for 5 rounds straight. It's so crazy to me how Petr made Merab look like a boy in there. Petr made Merab look like whatever it was that he was doing was not on his level. I don't know. I don't know exactly how he did that, but he was so focused, keeping also his face protected with his hand. He has a really interesting style in that way. Maybe this is the best guard method. That way, like, you have one hand in front of you constantly and one hand always nearby to protect yourself. Because he really didn't take any damage, especially like when you look at both of their faces at the end of the fight. You see Petr's face and you see Merab's face and you're like, wow. Wow, what happened? Petr was hitting Merab with the heart, like with punishing shots, as if it was personal, as if, I mean, I think he did have a point to prove, but like, it almost felt personal. I have never seen Merab scream from being attacked, and he screamed when Petr kicked him right on the liver. Like, all these fights, these previous fights that Merab has had, where we were all saying, like, how do you train for this? How do you train for this? Just focus. I feel like that's what he did. I feel like Petr just found a way to lock in, fucking killed his limbs and his body, and didn't let himself get taken down. Protected his face. Didn't let the pressure get to him. He was actually pressuring Merab. He was like so in it. He was so in it. I've never seen any fighter so focused before. It was such a beautiful performance, to the point where I feel sorry for Merab, because I saw after the first round his spirits kind of die, but he didn't want it to seem that way. Props to Merab for like holding himself up for 5 rounds straight, because I'm sure that shit was painful. Like, after his nose got disfigured in what was that, like the first or second round, he was just getting, oh man, his face looked raw at the end of it. Not even at the end of it, like halfway through. And he just, ended every round trying to smile about it, and I could tell that he like was really not expecting such an outcome, But yeah, that was a legendary performance from Petr. Absolutely legendary. I hope I didn't miss anything. All I will say is that Petr is the fucking grandmaster. He literally found the method to checkmate Merab. He was like, he looked at Merab's record, all these guys that fought him, and was just like, no, guys, I show you how it's done, okay? Masterclass. I show you how to defeat this guy, okay? Very simple. Here. All machines break, dude. All machines, I can't. Okay. You know what? Let's move on to the next one, guys. Let's move on to Alexandre Pantoja. Sad times for this fight. I didn't expect Pantoja's arm to just break. He shot a kick or something like that, and then Joshua Van caught his leg in the air. And then he kind of fell down, and as he was grabbing onto the ground to stabilize himself, his arm just broke. Like, it looked fucked up. I've never seen... I don't know where it broke exactly, but it looked like it broke kind of like above the elbow slightly, Not just like a dislocation, but like, I don't know how he's gonna recover from that. That's so sad. And the worst part of that too is the fact that we won't be able to see him fight for a while, and we won't know the outcome of this fight. It's so sad. I hate it when that happens. Yeah, I guess he should have been taking his vitamin D, his K2, and I don't know what else is good for the bones. Magnesium. Anyways, guys, sad times. Sad times. Let's move on to the next one. Tatsuro Taira versus Brenton Moreno. You know what's crazy? I've given you guys my theories on posture before, about how a fighter's posture really affects them in the long game. And I feel like we got to see that here. Brendan Moreno has always had this awkward forward-leaning posture. And that's, he's not taking in full breaths, and that's what we saw here in the first round. Tatsuro Taira, excellent posture, looked slick, full of energy, upright. Brendan Moreno, leaning forward, not being efficient at all with his energy. And then also, you could tell that every time he tried to shoot anything, it took a lot of energy out of him, just naturally, because he's not working in an efficient posture, in an efficient stance, in my opinion. And so you could tell he was already kind of expending way more energy than Tatsuro Taira. So I think it actually made a lot of sense that Tatsuro Taira ended up catching him because, there you could just see a clear difference in conditioning. I mean, I've pointed this out before, but I didn't really know how evident it was going to be until we saw it all happen on screen. But yeah, Tatsuro Taira looked great. He was very cautious and patient in that first round when they were both against the cage, and I think there was like an arm bar threat happening. But yeah, he was very patient, let that all ride out, and ended up catching him in the second round. So solid performance for Tatsuro Taira, actually solid performance. But I really do think that like Brendan Moreno should work on his posture, because really not an efficient posture. You need to be able to take in breaths, proper breaths, if you want to go for 15 minutes or for, if you want to fight in the most efficient way or do anything in the most efficient way. Like you are actually sabotaging yourself with your posture. I guarantee you. Trust me. Anyhow, guys, let's move on to the next one. Henry Cejudo versus Payton Talbott. Henry Cejudo, guys, I'm going to say it right now. He just looked like he didn't have a fight camp. And I think this was his last fight. He seemed to try and like throw these power shots, but he just was not present. Like he just wasn't quite there. I don't know. Remember when we watched that Shamrock fight and Shamrock just looked like he wasn't prepared enough? Like he has the skills maybe, but he just didn't have a proper fight camp. That's what Cejudo looked like. Anyhow, Payton Talbott just ended up beating him up. And I think that massive reach advantage also plays such a big role. Like Henry Cejudo is so short, and I feel like with these guys, they just end up struggling way more to achieve the same kind of result that a guy like Payton Talbott would have to do. Anyways, good to see Payton Talbott back. I think he gained back some aura after these last two fights since the Barcelos flop. Anyhow, let's move on to the next one. I don't even know if I should talk about this one. Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. I do feel like Jan looked a little bit old in this fight, especially in those moments where Bogdan Guskov was just on top of him. I never would have thought that the Russian kickboxer, or the Kazakhstan, this kickboxer who's a kickboxer, would ever be on top of anybody. Anyways, but this is what happened. He was on top of Jan Blachowicz for some time. For some reason, it didn't really feel like Jan was in any sort of significant control over Bogdan Guskov. Because that's kind of the feeling I got from Jan's previous fights, that, like, especially with Carlos Ulberg, I feel like he's usually able to lock into his opponent and make the fight go more his way. But for some reason, it seemed like this time he looked like he was locked in, but Bogdan Guskov wasn't actually threatened by it. I don't know. It wasn't effective. It was not effective, let's just say that. And then it was just 3 rounds of not knowing who did more. And Bogdan Guskov sometimes on top of Jan Blachowicz. I don't know what else to say about this one. So anyways, we'll move on to the next one. Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres is up next. I'm so happy about this one, guys, because I feel like I was the only one believing in Manuel Torres. Well, maybe not the only one, but Grant Dawson was a pretty big favorite, like -2 something. And I knew that Grant Dawson was a one-dimensional grappler type dude. Okay, he improved his game on the feet a little bit, but I've also seen Manuel Torres stuff takedowns from Chris Duncan, and Chris Duncan's actually solid, as we've seen also. So I was like, okay, well, if Chris Duncan can evade these takedowns and all of these threats from Chris Duncan, he can surely do it from Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson is more of a technical dude. Like, he doesn't have that same kind of fire in him. And yeah, Manuel Torres was way too quick for Grant Dawson, seriously. There were takedowns that tried to be shot from Grant Dawson, and they just didn't go anywhere. And on the feet, obviously, Manuel Torres looked crispier. So it was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time until Grant Dawson found himself knocked out. I think that all happened in the first round. Anyhow, I actually put Manuel Torres as one of my locks on this card. So if any of you guys actually tailed my parlay, you would have made like 8x your money. I'm not condoning gambling. I'm just saying, if you did, good for you. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Terrance Mckinney versus Chris Duncan. I also picked Chris Duncan. I was not about to switch up on my boy for this Terrance Mckinney, who we know is not a smart fighter. Come on. A lot of people were saying that, you know, Terrance Mckinney has these explosive first rounds. I know, I was actually worried about it too, but I was like, I don't know, I think Chris Duncan will kind of avoid it. He didn't actually avoid it. He did actually get hit quite a bit, but he has an iron chin, it seems. He stayed in it. He looked hurt, but like somehow was still there. And like, I guess Mckinney emptied out his gas tank. And then Chris Duncan was answering back every now and then, like after protecting himself. And it felt like whatever he was answering back with was more devastating than what Mckinney was doing. Or maybe it just caught Mckinney so off guard that he lost his momentum. But it was that final elbow in the end from Chris Duncan that put Mckinney down, and Mckinney was just not getting back up after that. Chris Duncan is such a dog, dude. Like, he's such an awesome fighter. Like, the amount of endurance he has is crazy, and apparently it's really hard to knock him out. And he'll make you drain your whole gas tank and then choke you out in the end. Make you confused about what the hell just happened to you. Chris Duncan, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah. I'm very proud of that pick. Anyways, I don't know if I should... Oh, yes. Okay, so I wanted to speak about... I didn't watch every single fight, to be honest, guys. I watched most of them. I watched the ones that mattered. So we're going to skip over Macy Barber and Nazim Sadikov and Marvin Vettori. I'm sorry, guys. We're just going to skip over those. And we're going to go to Edson Barboza versus Jailin Turner. I picked Jailin Turner because, of course, Edson Barboza... Dude, like, he needs to retire. There's nothing left there. Every performance he has these days is the same. He just doesn't know how to defend it anymore. He ends up eating so much damage. Like, I felt like I was watching him being abused. I don't know why the ref didn't stop that fight earlier, because it was pretty clear that Edson Barboza was not fighting back. He was not fighting back. He was just, like, standing against the cage taking damage, and he looked rough. He looked so rough. Jailin Turner fucked him up. I just feel bad. I feel bad when I watch these abusive moments, because I'm like, man, I know he already had evident CTE going on, but now it's just so much worse. Yeah, I just think the UFC should cut off Edson Barboza at this point. I think they will. I think they're like, okay, I think we've had enough. But it was a pretty good performance from Jailin Turner anyways. He was looking pretty sharp. I don't even think he ate any damage from Edson Barboza. There was a few things in the beginning. Like, there were a few moments. I think there were like 3 shots that Edson Barboza threw at Jailin Turner. Anyhow, let's move on to the next one, guys. Iwo Baraniewski versus Ibo Aslan. Another example of a guy who's built to be a fighter versus a guy who isn't. I feel like the dynamics of this fight were very similar to the Terrance Mckinney and Chris Duncan fight. And Iwo Baraniewski was Chris Duncan and Ibo Aslan was Terrance Mckinney. Ibo Aslan had some like moments in the beginning when he was just going for Iwo Baraniewski's head, but that iron Polish chin did not fall down. And again, also, when he answered back, it seemed like Ibo Aslan just couldn't handle it. Like, the few shots that Iwo Baraniewski threw, I don't know if they were more accurate or more powerful or what, but like, they put him down eventually. It was crazy too, because like, You had Ibo Aslan going in there with like 20 punches and like nothing really happened, and then Iwo Baraniewski answering back with 2 and putting Ibo Aslan down. Polish power. Anyways, pretty cool to see. I'm glad we have solid European prospects coming through here. What else? I guess that's all I really wanted to talk about. There's nothing else really to say here. There's nothing else really to say. I did also forget to mention one last thing about the Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr fight. And that's just the fact that Merab went into desperation mode. Oh, another thing too is like, can we get Joe Rogan off the mic? Please, can we get Joe Rogan off the mic? Like, I have never been so annoyed. And I have never noticed how bad his commentary was until I was watching the Merab fight. Because the fight starts out and you realize that, oh shit, Merab is not prepared for this. Like, this is not the fight he prepared for. And then you have Joe Rogan sitting, talking very loudly, as if he's narrating what Merab is going to do instead of what he's doing. Like, he's about to narrate what Merab is going to do from how his past fights went. It's like he has Merab's actions as the dialogue prepared ahead of time. And like, oh, this is the moment where Merab is gonna do the... Or like, oh, see, Merab's doing his thing again. Merab's not doing his thing. Merab is in desperation mode. Merab is just trying to figure out how to stay alive, brother. Merab is confused. Merab doesn't know why his face just got totally covered in scar tissue. Merab is just trying to keep it together and not look like a fucking wimp. Which I really respect him for, because I would cry. If I would cry. I would cry if... And also, like, I can't even imagine how hard it must have been to breathe after his nose got crunched. Rough times for Merab. I hope he recovers well. But yeah, like, please, let's get Joe Rogan off the mic. He's never saying anything interesting, and he ruined the commentary for Merab and Petr fight. Like, he ruined it. I'm sorry, he did. If you think he didn't and I'm tripping, let me know. But honestly, why is he there? Besides being Dana's friend. Like, besides being Dana's friend and having been there for a while, like, why is he even there? I have had the same feeling about Bruce Buffer at this point. Like, I can't even, like, whenever Bruce Buffer announces the fighters, I mute it. I can't even listen to it anymore. It's lost the flavor and now it's stale. You know what I mean? Now it's stale. Now it's like something needs to change, bro. We can't keep doing that. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. Come on. If you agree with me, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I actually don't have my bowl here. Ugh, I should get it. Okay, I'll go get it. Okay, I got my bowl. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's been watching me consistently, even through times like this. I'm actually going through a bit of a moment in my personal life, and I know that you guys... Some of you are used to this by now because nothing in my life has been stable for the past few years. But I appreciate those of you that stay and understand. I am trying my best. I am not a regular person. I don't know what stability feels like. I mean, I do. I just haven't had it in a while, I guess. And I've only ever experienced the glimpses of it. Anyhow, thank you again. Let me know what your favorite moment in 323 was. I think this was really, like, all the fights that I mentioned, that I talked about, were epic fights. Like, the only ones I didn't talk about were the ones that were not super eventful, or maybe they were, but no one was talking about them, so yeah. Anyhow, guys, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.